Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on my old growth style Eastern White Cedar or Thuja occidentalis. This Eastern White Cedar was collected on our club collection trip many years ago, and it was one of those ones growing near the edge of a pathway. They were just cut off with a chainsaw and all the bottom branches just kind of grew out. So you had this short stumpy tree with big thick branches at the bottom. It's undergone a lot of changes since then. I've removed all those thick horizontal branches, grown it as more of an upright tree. I ginned the deadwood part on the top here to make it look more natural, so it wasn't just that cut off look. And I'm growing it in that cathedral style where all the major trunks are pointing upwards, and it's slowly coming along. I've done a lot of root work to the tree, so I think with the next repotting this coming spring, I think you'll see a lot of nice surface roots forming. This is the front of the tree, and you can see the roots are swelling and forming these canals going up the trunk, getting this ridge kind of trunk or fluted trunk, and it's starting to look really nice. You can see it really dramatically here. I did have, at the back here, I cut off, there's an upper root and there's one below it. So I've kind of created a deadwood section here, which I don't even know if it was alive, because I took off a major branch here, and this cut here was already there. That was damaged by ATVs using the trail. They kind of rubbed against it and took a chunk of bark off. So this will heal. You can see it's swelling up each side of the deadwood. So it'll make a really nice feature. I may have to carve this root a little more flush here. It'll depend on what the roots look like underneath. This scar I'll always be left with. Not much I can do about it. You know, maybe I could have left it more of as a gin or something, but I don't know. Maybe someday it'll look quite natural and might hollow out a bit or something. Got some major scars here where I took branches off, and you can see they're healing around it, but they haven't closed up, and this has been after probably 4 or 5 years. They may eventually, up here, top here, there's another scar where a big branch was taken off, and this one's healing very naturally. It looks good. Yeah, so lots of features on the trunk. You can see these ones are starting to close up where branches were pruned off. They still look like kind of bullet holes at the moment, but they eventually will close up. And new bark will grow, and someday you'll hardly see these. They'll be very subtle. Like here's one that's almost healed over completely. And yeah, maybe another couple of years you won't see those so much. So here's about the front, kind of hiding this deadwood a bit, making these two trunk lines a little closer together. So yeah, all I did was kind of peel back the layers of wood, so all the wood grain is natural. I don't like carving wood. It always makes it look artificial. So if you're doing deadwood, I would recommend just peeling it back. That way you're always going with the grain of the wood, and as this ages, it'll look more and more natural and older. It'll look more realistic, I guess is the word I'm saying. So it's beginning to look quite nice now. It hasn't bleached yet. It's still kind of young, even though it's a couple of years old now. And eventually these trunks will thicken up, and they'll kind of swallow this up a bit, or make it less noticeable. And this is a characteristic of an old growth cedar. They get, the main trunk line dies, new branches grow up, and you kind of get this cathedral style with all the branches reaching up. I've left this lowest branch on here, even though if I took that off, the trunk line would definitely flow better. It would flow more trunk going up here. But I'm leaving it on, and the reason is that it is sort of a cathedral style branch. It comes out horizontal, then goes skyward. And it may be a nice piece of deadwood in the future if I decide to do that. That it's a nice cathedral branch that could be deadwood. Or, maybe if this branch stays kind of small, I'll get 2 live veins growing around it. And it may, be an interesting feature on the tree. So I'm keeping it on for now, even though it does kind of spoil the flow lines of the trunk of the tree. I think it's something to keep for now anyway. So today I'm going to be pruning the tree. I think this tree looks a bit older than it actually is. It's a fairly young tree. I would say it's, maybe 15, 20 years at the most. It's not that old of a tree. When I collected it, it didn't have all this rough bark on it. It was kind of younger looking. At the moment, the tree looks very lush and overgrown. So I'm going to be shortening all these vigorous shoots, keeping my upright ones, my upright trunks growing vigorously, shortening all the side branches to keep it kind of tall and compact, I guess is the word. Trying to get all those side branches more compact. I am ready to begin the work. I'll use my new stainless steel scissors. So here I go. I'm taking a look at the tree. I think I was going to leave this one as a cathedral branch, but again, looking at it, it's too wide. I've got to keep my cathedral branches very close to each other. Otherwise it looks too spreading. So I'm going to take that off. Reduce it back anyway. Like that. All looks better. The whole tree looks thinner now and more upright. I don't want to get it into a wide spreading tree. I am tempted to take this branch off down here. I'm trying to think what it would look like ginned. It makes the trunk kind of look stubby, because if that was gone, the trunk would look a little more taller. It's a tough choice because it is one of my better cathedral branches. It starts off horizontal and goes vertical, or almost vertical. But it does kind of disrupt the flow of the tree. And I know cathedral branches aren't really supposed to flow, but I think they're better in the upper canopies here, rather than down low like that. I don't think I would regret taking it off. It does have a lot of foliage attached to it, which would fill in this back here, which fills in the back, but again, I think it's too dense. Everything's telling me to take it off. So you know what that means. I gotta take it off. Now, again, I don't want to leave any deadwood because it detracts from the tallness of the trunk. I think it would take away. So I'm going to prune it flush. Any deadwood will be in the upper part of the tree. Here's a big step. Big cut coming up. Oh, get right in there. Right in there. Here I go. Make sure I'm recording. Yes, I am. Here I go, big cut. Oh my goodness. There it goes. That is like a tree itself. Now, does it look better? I think it does. I've got to clean this up. There's quite a bulge here. I've got to prune it back. Now that may, the line vein kind of goes around that branch, but it does have a vein up here. So hopefully it doesn't kill off anything on the trunk. I guess I'll find out. Now I'm gonna have to come in with my
concave cutters and clean this up a bit, which have never been used before, but now is the time. I'm just cleaning this cut up. Hopefully I won't get dye back up on this branch or anything. I don't think I will. Now, I think I'm going to use my gin pliers, and I'm going to try peeling a bit back. Kind of make it look a little more of a natural cut there. So it might peel down the trunk a little bit. I can grip it. There we go. Like that. Peel a bit of this away. So I want it flush, but I also kind of want it to look fairly natural too. I think that's looking pretty good. It looks like a branch that broke off, and it'll get a collar around it and start healing. It'll always be there, but peeling a vein off here. There. So that little bit of a wound going all the way down just peeled back naturally. So I think that's pretty good. Happy with that. Yeah. Now I'll show you a close-up of the wound.
Here's a look at that wound now. Yeah, so from the front of the tree, oh, you don't even see it, so. But, you know, you might as well make the back of the tree look as nice as you can, too. I think overall, I think the tree looks better. Much better. I'm wondering about this branch now. I kind of have the two opposing branches here. I think the one on the left side is better developed. That one's kind of young. And covering it with my hand, it actually looks better without it. Better get rid of that too, I guess. That was the one I was going to develop as an upright cathedral branch, but I think it would look better without it. I'll have a final look. I'm looking from the front here, kind of covering that up, and I think it looks better. I think, you know, I'll have a bit of weight on this side of the tree. It'll make it more asymmetrical, and then I can develop, you know, the leader or the canopy a little more to the right hand side. So it'll be more vertical on the left hand side and a little fuller up here to kind of balance the tree and make it more asymmetrical. I think it's a good move. I think that'll look really good. Now, I don't want a gin because it does the same thing. Visually it still has, you know, the two branches each side. So I don't want to leave a gin, but I might want to peel it back a bit to make a natural looking feature there.
All right, well, you can see the live vein feeding that branch. It's swelled up a bit. So I think if I cut it off, it would just die back anyway. because you can see this vein is feeding this back branch here. Well, I think this is going to be a case, you know, I've got my deadwood here. When I kill this off, I'll have more deadwood, deadwood upon deadwood, which kind of tells a story. So I think my job for today is to cut it off as a stump, then later on maybe peel it, I don't know, or maybe peel it today, like peeling it back. Let me cut it off first. So I'll cut it off right to here. So here I go, another big step coming up. It's gone. Now, does it look okay as a stump? It's not bad. I think I can just peel this one. It looks okay as a stump. It's not so visually dominant as I thought it would be. So I'll just grab some of the fibers and peel down. That's where these pliers, they have nice teeth on them, so they really grip the deadwood, and you can kind of grab and peel. I'm peeling this one away at the bottom. You don't have to. You could peel away from the top. Branches kind of break both directions, I've seen. There's a good pull there. Nice. This is going to look very, very nice, I think. Going down just down the trunk in a nice manner. There we go. Okay, I think that looks about as natural as I can get it. And again, like this live vein here may die back, but then, you know, I've got deadwood upon deadwood, and a feature there. So you always want to pull your wood grain. You never want to carve artificial grain in your wood, because as it ages and cracks, it reveals the natural grain of the wood, and if it counteracts or contradicts what you've carved in the branch, it makes your branch look very artificial. So that's why you should always just pull with the wood grain like that, and everything will look very natural. And for many years, it won't change to artificial looking with age. It'll always look good. Okay, I'll show you a close-up of that deadwood feature.
So here it is here. So you can see I've stripped kind of a vein down here. The branch is broken off. It looks very natural, like it just came off in nature. And from the front view, let's go to the front view here. It looks very good. You hardly notice it. It's there. It's a kind of a feature of the trunk, but it doesn't take your eyes away from the upright branches. I think it's really good. I think this tree is making progress today. It's been a lot of hard decisions, ones that I didn't really expect to be making today, but I'm glad I'm looking at the styling of it and getting it on track. And you know, it's been quite a process with this tree. It's as I said, it's kind of halfway between growing the tree you want and using the features that the tree has, creating deadwood and that, and pruning away features. So it's kind of been a bit of it was a collected tree, but a lot of it is grown.
All right, the work continues. Oh my goodness. It's all looking good. So I'm kind of pruning these trunks like they're separate trees. Kind of getting all the branches coming out radial. Having each branch divide from 1 to 2 and that kind of a thing. And hopefully, you know, in the end it'll all look nice. I think I better step back and have a look at the tree. See how it's doing. So I'll get the front lined up to the camera, which I think is about there, and come back and have a look at it. See if I've done the right thing today. It still looks like an old growth tree. The main trunk's died off, new branches have grown up. It's maybe not quite as cathedral as it was, but it's definitely got it down to a better structure. I think there's the front. You're looking at the front. I think it's pretty close to being finished. I'm going to step back and have a look at it, see if there's any more work I need to do, any major work. Here is a look at the tree now, all pruned up. I think it's looking quite nice. I'll show you a picture of what I'm after, an old growth cedar from a forestry diagram. So I'll show you that now. So now here's my version of the tree, of that old growth tree, and I can see the similarities. I definitely more vertical growth in the upper canopy eventually. I need to thicken maybe some of my trunks up a bit more, but you know, it'll come. I think it's getting there, is I guess what I'm getting at. Yeah, it's I think I made good progress today, cleaning up that trunk line for one, getting rid of that other major branch in there. Yeah, I think it steps forward. I still think the tree has, you know, quite a ways to go, years-wise and development, but it's certainly getting towards the goal. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think once I get it repotted and expose some of those roots a bit more, I think it's also going to add to the appeal of the tree. And I think in the future you'll start seeing more fluting on the trunk. Let's fly in now and take a final look at my Thuja occidentalis, or eastern white cedar. I'll start with the Blue Jay Bonsai Carnage Cam so you can see what I took off today. Wow. And not just, you know, thin branches, but whole trees. So I'm going to make a cedar tea out of all this foliage. I think that'll be really good. Make a nice tea for the afternoon. So let's have a look at the tree now. Yeah, I think it's looking better. There's kind of a look at the trunk. Looking up at the old growth cedar. I'll rotate it around. All right, it's time to make the cedar tea. So I've got a pot here, I'll throw in the leaves, and I'll just break them off. I won't put the stems in. I'll just keep kind of the tender leaves. So this is a traditional First Nations tea. I've had this tea at our talking circle It's delicious. And I had it once when I was sick. Todd, the leader of the talking circle, suggested I have this when I had a cold, and it really helped. Felt really good. Okay, so I'll put my lid on. I'll fill it up with water about, to about here. Boil it up, and then we'll give it a try. I have boiled my cedar tea for about 10 minutes. There it is. So it's still very hot. So you only should drink a maximum of 3 cups of this tea per week. It contains thujone, which is a toxin in here. So you don't want to take too much of this cedar tea. It's very high in vitamin C. It has a lot of other good properties. So let's get it poured into the cup now. So here's my Bonsai Zone cup from Tom. Thanks, Tom. And here I go with the tea, pouring it in my cup. Like that. So you can see it's a slight kind of yellowish green color. Smells really good. Has a lot of flavor. So I'll let that cool before I drink it. My cedar tea is cooled down. It's the perfect temperature. Isabella was telling me that you don't need handles on mugs because when the liquid is the right temperature to drink, you just pick it up with your hands. You don't need a handle. If you're drinking it with a handle, it probably means your tea or coffee or whatever is too hot. So let's give it a try now. It's very good. Very, very good. Here's a look at my thuja in the sunlight. Big changes for my old growth Eastern White Cedar today. I think it made some steps ahead. I'm happy with the progress of this tree. I think Thuja Thursdays might become a thing. I have lots of Eastern White Cedars I can work on every Thursday. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.